All right, so how to make a blog in Webflow? Great question, and I don't think it's super complicated, but I've learned that what I think and what other people think can be different. So just how do we go about it? So first things first, I'm going to come over here to the CMS over here, collections, and I'm going to create a collection. And it gives me a great start here. So there is a blog post collection template. So if I click on that um, and I scroll down, it's going to say blog post, post. And I'm fine with that. I think it's pretty standard. And then down here, it gives me the fields that are going to be in my blog post, so in my editor. So I got the name, which is going to be the title. I got a post body, which is a rich text editor field, which is going to be next. So this next one is a post summary. So if like you're going to list the blog posts on a homepage, um, then you probably if it's just a blog altogether, you may not want to do this. You may want to. So what it's going to allow you to do is have one or two paragraphs or a paragraph or a couple of sentences as a preview, and then they could click into the post. If you just want the whole thing, you can have it, you can not have it. We'll use it just so I can show you how it works. There's the main image, which would be like a larger image that maybe is going to go up at the top of a post. And then there is a thumbnail image, which might be smaller. Like once again, if you're listing your post on the home page in like boxes or a grid, and it's got a little image preview, summary preview. This is where you'd get that. Do you have the ability to feature posts? And so it's got a featured toggle switch here, and then even a color. So like if you are going to add a category or whatever, you could do that. So what I'm going to do is I don't really need the featured, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this away. And the color, I get rid of that too. So I've got my posts, and I'm going to create my collection. So now I have blog posts. And what's awesome about Webflow is it lets me add 5 generic items, which I need to do. But I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you about categories. So I want to categorize my blog. I want it to be by specific features or functions or things. So I'm going to come back up here to collections, and I'm going to create a categories collection. I'm just going to use the template. You can come down here. Now there are a lot of options, and honestly I don't need all of these, but I'm just going to keep them so you can see them. It's name of the category. I can describe the category, and then if I want an icon for that specific category, I could use that, or I can set a color if I wanted to tag it by color, like visually let people see the difference between categories. So I'm going to go ahead and create this collection too. And then I'm going to come back to blog posts, and I'm going to click on the cogwheel here, and I'm going to add a field. I'm going to add a reference field. I'm going to just call it category, and then right here in the collection I'm going to say categories is what it's going to pull from, and I'm going to save it. And I'm going to save my collection. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add 5 generic items, blog posts here. So here we go. It's got 5 of them. If I click into one, you can see, it's got lorem ipsum, it's got a post summary, it's given me images, and then I'm just going to go through here and set categories if I want. I didn't actually add any categories, so it didn't pull any. So if I come back over here and go to categories, I'm just going to add 5 items to my categories, and then I'm going to go back over to my blogs post, and I'm just going to select a category for these. So that's fine. Save that. What will this website be like in 100 years? Let's pick a category for that and save it. And got this one. So category for this. It's just something down here. Sure. Save it. And you get the picture, right? I can come down and I can categorize these, all of these, and save them. So boom, done. Save my blog post. Okay, so I've got blog post to work with. So now let's worry about a site. So if this was a page that I'm designing, that's like a portfolio, and I've got my blog included, you've probably got a place where you want your blog to go. So a few different ways to go about this, and I'm not going to go super in depth, but I'm just going to add like a section here to my home page. Just go ahead and put a little padding on it, and then I'm going to throw a container in here, bam, and then I'm going to come down here and just going to add columns. This is the easiest. I'd probably really flexbox this, but so got my grid set up, and then I'm going to add my collection here. So I'm going to come in here and insert a collection list. This is on my home page. I'm going to bind this to blog posts. So okay, great. It's selected blog posts, and then I've got it saved. I'm good to go. Now there are a few different ways I can do this. I like to leave this stretched out, and I'm going to list all my blog posts in a row, which great. Once again, works really well. But if I want to make a grid or whatever, I don't like using this grid because even though it works, it's easier to like come up, make this right here like this, and then come up onto the column that's enclosing it or the div that's enclosing it, and make it a flex box into it that way. So, and maybe that's way past where we're at right now, but just overall philosophy there. So in my blog post, I'm just going to select an item. I'm going to throw in a heading. I'm going to say, get that text from my name. And so now I've got a name, and then I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to drop in a rich text block, and I'm going to get my text from my post body. So you can see it's all changing as I go along. And then if I wanted to, I could come in here and add an image. And I'm going to get the image from blog post. I'm going to say it's going to be my main image. So now I've got my main image and all that fun stuff. And then typically what I would do is I'd come in here at the bottom and I'd drop in a button, and I would just title it read more, and then at the it's going to be at the bottom of every post the way Webflow works. And so now I can click this button and come over here to my designer over here in the settings, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to link it to the current blog post that we're in. So when they click on that, it's going to take them to read this post. And then you can style this however you like, right? So like if I come up to the collection item, I can come down here, and at the bottom I can put like a border, and I can make it however thick I want. I can style it. In fact, do something like that. I could put some padding on it, just so there's kind of like a separator there, and even maybe some margin at the bottom. So I want space in between these posts here, so people can scroll and read my blog. So if I've got like a full blog, I can do it that way, or like I said, you could design it out into like a grid, just so just so you can kind of see what that's like. Let's just delete this whole collection list here, and let's delete it. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this row as well. So I'm just back to just a section and container. So one thing I could do is throw my collection list back in here, bind it to blog posts, and then let's just use their look here. And then one thing I can do is on the collection list, if I come over to the settings, I can limit the number of items. So let's just say I want, let's just go on the home page of my portfolio, and I just want 3 posts. I'm going to limit it to 3. I can even filter this, so I could say category has to be this category, save. And if I save that, it's going to knock it down to the one post that was categorized that way. I'm going to delete that. You can also, filter this by feature. So if it had been featured, we're only going to show the featured posts up here. So I'm limiting this to 3 items now. So one thing I could do here is I'll throw in a heading. Once again, I'm going to get my text from the name of my post. That's really large. So maybe I come in here and I say, I'm going to make this just like 14 or something, or 18, and change my line spacing here. Okay, so I've got my title, and then now I could just do, instead of my main image, like I'm going to throw in an image, and I'm going to get my image from my thumbnail image, my smaller images this time. And then instead of throwing my whole post in here, I'm just going to put a paragraph in here. I'm going to get my text from my post summary. So it's just showing me like a small summary of this, not the whole post, but just kind of like the intro or what it's about, a good overview. And then, I'm going to go ahead and drop a button in here. Once again, I'm just going to make it to where, I'm going to change it to where it says read more. Changes it for all of them. And then I'm going to come up here in my settings. I'm just going to link it to the current blog post. So now, if I were to click on it, it takes me to the individual page for that post. So now I've showed you like how to put it on like homepage, and so now like what you have to do is style your individual pages. So if I go to blog post template, once again I can just throw like a section in here and a container. Once again, you could style this how you want, nav bar up top, all that fun stuff, and then however you want to do it. And then here, maybe I definitely want columns because I'm going to have a sidebar for ads or whatever it might be. And then I'm going to throw a heading in here. It's going to be my name. And then I'm going to throw in my image, and I'm going to make it link to, and this is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you can kind of see this is kind of, okay, really similar. I'm going to throw in my rich text block, which is my full text, my post body. And so now this is everything I wrote, and right underneath my picture, like maybe I throw in like a link block, or I'll just throw in like a text block here. And I'm going to get this text. I'm going to tell them what category it is. And then, over here I can go to my settings up here, and I can say, get the text color, or get the background color from category as well. So you can see there's like a color for that category. We know that falls into this category. So I have my image, I have my content, all that fun stuff. And then what I like to use is at the bottom, I'll throw in like an HTML embed, and it's got a place for code. And I like to use Discus. You can use whatever you want. Discus has like a great little discussion tool though. I can sign up and get code for a blog, and then I can paste that code in here and save it and close it, and it's going to have my content and then a place for people to comment on it. And so now I've got a blog here. Now, where Webflow doesn't, a couple things they don't do, they don't automatically paginate posts. So like on your homepage, if you were listing all of these, I might list the first 10, limit it to 10, and then I would copy this collection and paste it on another page and say, okay, it's going to start at number 11 and go through 20, and then, you kind of paginate out from there. So I think that's something they're working on, but, it still works. There's a blog I built called I Ate Oklahoma for a friend of mine, and he's got a pretty fleshed out, full featured blog that's pretty sweet. You can see, lots of cool stuff, lots of content. I even, added the add this buttons and all that. At the bottom, you can see what the discussions are like, and his categories, all that fun stuff. So, you can kind of go nuts with it. So hopefully this kind of explains it. Try to go basic. If this doesn't work, let me know. All right.